If someone is trying to control you, it rarely looks like control. It almost always looks like care. It sounds like concern. It feels like protection. It often comes wrapped in warmth, advice, and emotional closeness. And that is exactly why so many people stay inside emotionally controlling relationships without realizing what is happening. Because control does not enter your life as a threat, it enters your life as comfort. Most people imagine control as something obvious: shouting, orders, anger, power. But emotional control works differently. It hides inside kindness. It hides inside worry. It hides inside phrases like "I just want what's best for you," or "I'm only saying this because I care." And over time, those words begin to shape how you think, how you choose, and how you see yourself. Psychology shows that the human brain is deeply sensitive to approval and emotional safety. From childhood, we learn that connection equals survival. When someone gives us attention, validation, and emotional warmth, the brain releases chemicals linked to trust and bonding. Dopamine and oxytocin begin to flow. These chemicals do not ask whether a situation is healthy. They only ask whether it feels emotionally rewarding. And this is where emotional control often begins. Not through fear, but through comfort. At first, emotional control can feel like support. Someone takes interest in your decisions. They comment on your friends. They question your goals. They offer guidance. It feels intimate. It feels protective. It feels like someone is paying attention. And for a social brain wired to seek closeness, that attention can feel powerful. It can feel grounding. It can feel like love. But slowly something shifts. You begin to explain yourself more. You begin to adjust your choices. You begin to avoid reactions instead of expressing yourself freely. You start shaping your behavior to preserve emotional peace, and without noticing, your independence starts shrinking. Real care has one central goal: your growth. Emotional control has a different goal: emotional comfort for the other person. Real care supports your ability to think, decide, and expand. Emotional control prefers predictability. It prefers emotional safety. It prefers influence. The brain is not good at detecting this shift because the signals are emotional, not logical. There is no alarm system for subtle influence. There is no physical threat. There is only a slow change in how free you feel to be yourself. Psychologists often describe emotional control as a process rather than an action. It is not one sentence. It is a pattern. It is not one moment. It is an environment. Over time, that environment can make you doubt your reactions, filter your words, and hesitate before making choices that once felt natural. And the most confusing part is this: the person may truly believe they care. Emotional control does not always come from malice. It often comes from insecurity, fear of loss, or a need for emotional certainty. But intention does not change impact. The brain still responds, your nervous system still adapts, your sense of self still shifts. So how do you know the difference? How can you tell when care is helping you grow, and when it is quietly shaping you for someone else's comfort? To answer that, we need to look at how healthy care feels in the nervous system, and how emotional control slowly rewires it. Because the difference is not found in what someone says, it is found in what happens to you. Real care expands you. Emotional control narrows you. This is one of the clearest psychological differences. When care is healthy, your world becomes bigger. You feel safer expressing ideas. You feel supported trying new things. You feel encouraged to develop independence. Even when someone disagrees with you, you do not feel emotionally punished for being yourself. But when emotional control is present, the inner world becomes smaller, not suddenly, slowly. You may begin to feel tension before speaking. You may feel subtle guilt when choosing differently. You may sense emotional distance when you assert independence. These are nervous system signals. They are not thoughts, they are sensations. The brain learns through emotional consequence. When openness leads to warmth, openness grows. When independence leads to discomfort, independence weakens. Over time, you may start editing yourself before the other person even reacts. This is one of the strongest signs of emotional control. The influence no longer needs to be applied, it has been internalized. Another difference lies in how conflict is handled. In real care, conflict can exist without threatening connection. You can disagree and still feel emotionally safe. There is room for repair. There is room for perspective. There is room for both nervous systems. In emotional control, conflict often carries emotional consequences. Distance, coldness, withdrawal, disappointment, subtle shifts in tone. The disagreement itself becomes the problem, not the topic. And slowly the brain learns to avoid emotional disruption by avoiding honesty. Real care respects your internal authority. Emotional control slowly replaces it. You may notice that decisions start feeling heavy. You may seek approval more often. You may replay conversations in your head. You may feel uncertain about choices you once made easily. This is not weakness. This is adaptation. The nervous system adapts to emotional environments. Another psychological marker is how mistakes are treated in real care. Mistakes are information. They are moments of learning. In emotional control, mistakes become emotional leverage. They are remembered. They are referenced. They are connected to trust, loyalty, or love. Over time, this can create a subtle fear of being wrong, not because being wrong is harmful, but because being wrong changes the emotional climate. Real care allows emotional movement. Emotional control prefers emotional stability. Control is not about domination. It is about managing emotional unpredictability. When someone cannot tolerate emotional uncertainty, they may try to shape behavior instead of regulating themselves. This is not always conscious, but the effect is the same. Your nervous system begins adjusting to protect the emotional state of someone else, and when that happens long enough, people often confuse peace with health. But peace built on self-reduction is not peace. It is emotional silence. One of the most reliable ways to tell the difference between care and emotional control is to observe what happens when you change. Change is a natural expression of growth. Interests evolve, perspectives deepen, goals shift. Healthy care adapts to this movement. It remains curious, it remains supportive. It may feel challenged, but it does not need to restrict. Emotional control struggles with change, because change introduces emotional uncertainty, and uncertainty feels unsafe to a nervous system that relies on predictability for comfort. You may notice resistance when you express new ideas. You may sense tension when you set boundaries. You may feel emotional consequences when you pursue independence. These reactions are not always dramatic. Often they are quiet, a shift in warmth, a pause in affection, a subtle disappointment. Your nervous system notices these shifts even when your mind explains them away. Another sign appears in how responsibility flows. In real care, emotions are owned. In emotional control, emotions are assigned. You may feel responsible for how someone feels. You may feel guilty for their disappointment. You may feel obligated to regulate their inner world. This creates a psychological pattern where your behavior becomes a tool for emotional management. And here is a question worth sitting with. When you imagine becoming more yourself, more honest, more independent, more expressive, do you feel expansion or tension? That emotional signal often reveals more than words ever could, because the body registers safety and restriction before the mind constructs stories. Emotional control does not always feel painful. Sometimes it feels soothing, it can feel stable, it can feel familiar, it can feel like being needed. But long-term psychological health is not built on being needed, it is built on being free. Care supports your capacity to stand on your own nervous system. Control prefers that you lean on someone else's. When someone truly cares, your strength does not threaten the bond. When emotional control is present, your strength quietly destabilizes it. Knowing the difference between care and emotional control is not about judging people. It is about understanding environments, nervous systems, emotional patterns. Many controlling dynamics are not created by bad intentions. They are created by unmet emotional needs, fear of loss, and a desire for certainty. But awareness is still necessary, because without awareness, the brain will always choose emotional comfort over long-term psychological health. Real care does not require you to become smaller. It does not require you to manage someone else's inner world. It does not depend on your predictability. It supports your becoming. Emotional control does not announce itself, it settles in. It shapes reactions, it narrows choices. It teaches the nervous system that safety comes from adjustment. And the moment you begin noticing how you feel instead of what is said, clarity starts emerging. Because the nervous system rarely lies. If this topic made you reflect on your own experiences, take a moment to sit with that. Understanding emotional dynamics is not about blame, it is about self-trust. And self-trust is one of the strongest forms of psychological protection. If you found this exploration meaningful, you are welcome to subscribe to Neuro Plain. It supports the channel and allows more long-form psychology documentaries like this to be created. And if you feel comfortable, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe it is harder to recognize emotional control when it comes from someone who cares about you? Your perspective matters.